All right, everyone. Comcast is actually suing the state of Vermont right now over the state wants them to lay additional cable and sort of upgrade their systems. And I've got two feelings on this. I know Comcast is generally, it's like one of the lowest ranked companies for user satisfaction, but I can almost kind of understand where they're coming from, and that's no joke, which shows, you know, my ire, I guess, at the state of Vermont's sort of idea of how things should work. On the one hand, internet service in the state of Vermont, unless you're right in Burlington, is a little bit lackluster. Like even here, this is a developed area. You know, there are what, 25,000 people in the Rutland metro area, over 55,000 in the county. It's not quite so rural. Like I can understand if you have, you know, if you're hesitant to make a major multi-million-dollar investment in the Northeast Kingdom or some mountain somewhere where 10 people are living, I can understand that. But even here, like, internet is slower than the national average. It's not great. Serviceable, but not great. But here's the problem. The state of Vermont is mandating, hey, Comcast, you're going to expand your cable. Comcast is just going to pass that on to the consumers. Now, if my internet speed were to go up, even though the internet here is already pretty costly, yeah, I'd be willing to pay. But the thing is, look at what I do online. I make my money online. For somebody who's just sitting there updating their Facebook posts or something like that, they probably don't want to pay more for faster internet unless if they're a gamer, yeah, they probably want fast internet. If they're doing a lot of work online, making money online, they probably want faster internet. If they're a college kid, they probably want fast, very stable internet. For everybody else, it's not necessarily, you know, is it really that necessary to be beyond what it already is at? And they're asking Comcast, well, they're telling Comcast, well, make this multi-million-dollar investment. I think it was 500-something miles of cable that they want them to lay out to expand broadband service. Like, you got to realize, it wasn't until a few years ago that the northeast part of this state even had broadband access. They had dial-up before that. These people had dial-up internet well into the 2010s, which it's like, you know, doesn't really make sense, I suppose. The one thing I would side with the state of Vermont on is that Comcast here is basically a monopoly. Like, you can use Comcast, they're the ones giving you your cable, or, you know, because it's a rural state, small population for the most part, you're either using Comcast or you're getting like a satellite card or something like that. And then you'd be paying more anyway, and you'd still, you know, you'd have data caps and everything else. Like, I don't appear to experience any cap on what I can do online. It's actually mystifying to me when people talk about, oh, yeah, I ran out of data for the month or something. Like, that's still a thing? That's funny. I do whatever the fuck I want online. You know, either that or the cap is so high I never reach it, and I'm uploading, you know, many gigabytes of content per day on a daily basis all month long. I don't have a problem with Comcast as far as my service. I'm all set. I actually don't mind Comcast, and insofar as it affects me, I've had no problems with them. There are occasional, like, outages, like the internet's down for like 5 minutes or something like that. It's not a big problem. I've never been, like, harassed by Comcast or anything like that. They've never sent me a letter saying, oh, we're going to sell your data, you know, or something. It just doesn't happen. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with them. I also wouldn't have a problem, though, if they did decide to upgrade everything, make it faster, which would be, you know, for somebody like me, it would be nice. I wouldn't have a problem with them charging me a bit more. One thing, why don't they just have tiered services for some of the actual urban settings in Vermont? Like, lay your cable elsewhere, but also offer something that's actually a little bit more expensive for people who intend to do a lot of streaming and gaming and stuff. Because the one thing I would have a problem with is that the internet speed is just barely high enough for me to be able to, like, stream video. Like to have an interview with someone and it doesn't crap out constantly. I would like to be able to stream live video and not have to worry about it looking like a bunch of Lego bricks. So that's what I would say. But I can kind of understand where Comcast is coming from. They've got a state telling them, oh, you must, in order to continue operating in this state, you must do X, Y, and Z. And people have pointed out, while Comcast uses the legal system to try to prevent competitors from actually coming in and competing with them. Okay, that's every broadband serving company. That's every ISP that does that. They all try to outmaneuver one another. But that's not Comcast's fault. You've enabled them to do that. If you have a problem with it, change the fucking law. It's not this particular private entity isn't the one designing these laws. They do lobby, but you let them lobby. They do try to give kickbacks to politicians to make it happen, but you allow them to give kickbacks to people. So I'm not sure. It's not Comcast takes a lot of shit, but they're not the progenitor of the problem. Government is. In a total free market situation, Comcast could not use the legal system to establish a monopolistic control anyway. But we don't have capitalism. See, there's the problem. Then these people say, oh, we need more socialism. Let's subsidize the internet or do this. You know, it's not going to work. You're digging yourself your own grave when you try to do that. But other countries have tried this. It doesn't work. So those are some of my thoughts. Comcast may not be, as far as, consumer friendly. They may not be the greatest company out there. In fact, they're consistently rated as one of the top 10 bad companies on that token. But in this situation, I can kind of understand where they're coming from. Would I want to invest millions and millions of dollars into areas where I'm never actually going to make a return on that for the justification of continuing to operate in a largely rural state where I'm making, a fairly mediocre sum to begin with? Comcast should, though, offer a more expensive and much faster service to people. They should try to set something up for that and have a tiered system. Because right now it's basically, oh, well, I've got Comcast Internet. It means the same thing no matter really where you are in Vermont. We are a little backwards when it comes to Internet, unfortunately. Which is fine for 90% of the people using it because they're like point and click on Facebook. Or, hey, I've updated my blog post. Woohoo, yeehaw. For somebody who intends to do something more intensive, perhaps, it would be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit better service. But I'm not dissatisfied for the most part. I don't really have a problem with Comcast because, hey, I've never had a problem with them. If somebody else does, I feel sorry for you. And sometimes these companies abuse people, give you shitty internet, cap your data or whatever. I don't appear to ever have experienced that, which is strange because I am in a semi-rural part of the state of Vermont. That's about all. Peace out.